tons of grifty accounts online fell for this one person lying about their, credentials as a Japanese university historian expert.
Okay, I worked as a fucking engineer, alright, before I went into this shit. I know this. I also like to mess around with technology. I myself used to be an engineer before I went to the video editing route.
Even though it took 5 seconds to Wayback Machine their account and figure out, oh, they were some random dude on the internet. And even if you took their Japanese, name, put it into, the Tokyo University or whatever university they claim to be, you couldn't even find that person.
For Mutahar to be a licensed computer engineer, for him to be able to legally call himself a computer engineer, or an engineer in general, he would need a 4-year degree, 4 years of training, and to pass the National Professional Practice Exam. If he had just a degree, then he could only call himself a computer engineer graduate. This is where things become a little bit difficult, because Mutahar is apparently not just a computer engineer.
I'm a video engineer now. I think I know how this shit fucking works.
Speaking out of an engineer, if I wasn't a computer science engineer, I wouldn't speak about Elon being an idiot. See, people don't even want to do the bare minimum of research. Nobody wants to do even 5 minutes of research. At the end of the day, I haven't had the time to sit down and review every single bit of Max's back catalog as I've been researching his current investigation.
Didn't you say just a moment earlier?
How is it that you can make blatant statements of fact when at the end of the day, you have literally not even properly reviewed, you have not properly contextualized, and even timelined every single bit of evidence that consistently builds? You're clearly not an investigator built for this case, and it's not literally because someone like him is out of his head because he only is one person. I have done plenty of investigations. I've just never revealed and played my hand and explained things until I fully understood them.
Pretty funny how every single criticism you are making applies just as much, if not more, to you.
But they'll believe anything an account says. Now, I'm not going to sit here and make an unsubstantiated claim.
So you are literally admitting that this Reddit post is just a bunch of unsubstantiated claims, and you are platforming it anyways. This Reddit post is using a tactic called deceptive storytelling, made to look like investigative reporting. It is a very common trait among disinformation on the internet. And it just so happens that this is the exact same Redditor claiming I was storing CSEM on the evidence megadrives for my videos, by some supposed hash match according to Mutahar, but there is no evidence to prove that. They just say it and everyone believes it, but that literally contradicts Mega's own policies. And we don't even know who this Redditor is. They could be anybody.
You could actually go beyond just goofing on Assassin's Creed Shadows and turn it into serious misinformation. Imagine an actual piece of misinformation suddenly showing up on national news, international news, spreading like wildfire. And it's not until the actual bomb blows that people start correcting themselves. That's a serious issue, and that's something that I think people need to watch out for going forward. Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and normally I have a lot of faith in people, but honestly with the individuals that I cover, I really don't think there's room to grow. Now I'm personally somebody that if you're apologetic and you want to change for the better, I am 100% supportive of you.
Mutahar
is not that kind of guy.
Before we get into this video, I just wanted to thank all of you for your overwhelming support on my last 2 videos. The video I made about Vosh, going over those allegations against him, and sort of like that compilation I did of all the very sus clips of him at the beginning. It seems that people really like that. As well as my Mutahar video is doing really, really well. I want to thank all of you for all the support, all the comments, all the likes. It's unimaginable to me, all the support that I've been getting ever since I started posting on this channel. And I really appreciate it. Thank you. In today's video, we're continuing the saga of talking about Mutahar and his exposal. And in today, what I find to be it's sort of a part 2 bombshell of this whole fake engineer saga. The idea basically being that Mutahar, using his credentials as an engineer, a fake engineer, has been basically manipulating his audience into canceling people and believing him whenever he would jump on the bandwagon exposing other people. And then other people would parrot the talking points that Mutahar gave, and then that would make other people, other creators, look worse. The creators that Mutahar used to be friends with.
The story begins on October 3rd, 2023, where Max sends me a message on Discord.
Actually, our story begins much earlier, in January of 2020, when I first met Mutahar Anas. And being a fan of his content, I really looked up to him. Immediately, I could tell that he likes to talk about himself. and brag about his achievements, which was fine. He is a very successful influencer, and there was a lot that we all learned from him. He loved getting drunk with the boys.
That's alcoholism.
And he would often gossip about other YouTubers, despite pretending to be friends with everyone.
And to me, this comes off as like incredibly scummy, vindictive, petty. Like the idea that people that used to be Mutahar's friends, that he used to drink with, that he used to stay with overnight, that one day he would just turn tail on them, and the second that they get some reports on a Mega Drive account, right, that they immediately assume the absolute worst that it could be. To give some background, I'm not super knowledgeable about MamaMax. I'm not somebody that watched a ton of his content prior to this whole controversy. But after Mutahar got exposed for being a fake engineer, I went back to Mutahar's coverage of MamaMax and sort of like how everything transpired. And one interesting thing that stuck out to me is he validated people's absolute worst possible interpretation that MamaMax himself was hosting CP or CSAM material on this Mega Drive, and that is why it was shut down. Even though the report screenshot itself says a multitude of categories of questionable content that it could have gotten shut down for, and says that it was reported to. This does not mean that it literally does. Like an account can be reported for having something on it and still get closed, just because like the way that they choose to moderate their content on Mega. The transparency policy says as much, that they can at any time choose to take it out of an account if they decide that it has received too many reports and that it could potentially be a valid threat. That is why an appeals process exists in which you can potentially get your Mega Drive account back. However, so many people wanted to believe Mutahar. They wanted to believe the cybersecurity expert. They wanted to believe the some ordinary engineer. And because of their reliance on their favorite sacred cow, inevitably that ended up harming MamaMax. And despite the fact that like it does seem like his content may be a little bit edgy, not my type of thing, it does seem a little bit sus to me that he couldn't say who definitively was the account owner of the Mega Drive. He said that it was used by like him and his team, so he was like almost trying to push the blame, but at the same time that like it could technically still be true because they were doing like group investigations. It is complicated. I'm not sure what the absolute truth is.
Mega removed CSAM material. They are identified with known CSAM hashes. And Muta will explain far more coherently than I can what exactly that means.
Those hash files are then checked against other hashes of images, objects that you have on your local device or wherever you store online continuously, and if a hash gets tripped, which there could be false positives, but generally there aren't, they all check hashes, okay? Literally fingerprints within picture files.
Point withstanding, TLDR, effectively, MamaMax was a YouTuber that used to make child predator catching videos. Basically, he would expose people that were obviously doing bad things to children via the internet. Reputation started to turn against him. People started to turn tide against him alongside Mutahar, and I believe that Mutahar did this simply because he was the one person that turned against him years ago during an Airbnb when MamaMax tried to bring his friends along.
But I would occasionally check up on Mutahar or ask him for advice regarding certain projects. And whenever we did see each other every year or so for YouTuber events, he always paid for drinks and food and was very generous with his money. Maybe a little too frivolous. I don't make as much as my peers. But over time, Mutahar was clearly becoming more and more self-centered. Specifically, I remember at VidCon 2022, he would disrespectfully make decisions that went against the group. He started calling Blame It on Jorge and Sakura Stardust vomit-holics who can't hang in his mansions. And he didn't want to hang out with people under a certain subscriber count. He even kicked out my friends who weren't YouTubers, even though prior to this weekend I had gotten an Airbnb specifically for these friends to join us. But then Mutahar got a new Airbnb, claiming it didn't have enough capacity for my friends. But then popular YouTubers like Kelly, the Act Man, were more than welcome, even after being over capacity. This is a group chat between me, Nick, and Ryan on that very occasion when I hopped the fence of the Airbnb because we had no way to get inside, and my partner at the time was having a seizure. Ryan told Mutahar, and apparently he was furious that I did this. Do we have a plan for getting back in the house? Or for anyone to lock the front door? Sorry for the awkward situation, boys. Just trying to keep my girl happy. I fucking hate this. You're good. Just a weird situation. I don't even know what happened. This is what happened. Muta told us to get an Airbnb. A month had passed trying to get in a call with him to find one, and since he had been so unresponsive and we were only weeks away from flying out, I got an Airbnb that was close to everywhere we wanted to go and had the capacity to satisfy the needs of everyone we wanted to hang out with. Muta then immediately got a new Airbnb an hour away and did so without talking to any of us about it. And now that we are here, he is calling the shots for the plans, even though he can't commit to a plan, changing his mind to pick up Ryan, even though fucking offered. And then come to find out there is only one key for 8 people that belongs to the one person who is the least responsive and communicative out of all of us. And since my girlfriend was having a seizure and pissing herself in the car, I figured hopping the fence was a justifiable action to get in the goddamn house. And since he has been inviting people to the property the entire time, either with or without our knowledge, including a party that we were only informed of because a guest told us about it, I thought it would be fine if I had 2 quiet people sleep over, since their hotel I booked for them would not let them check in. And now they're upset because I didn't ask if I could have these people sleep over. People who wanted to cook for them and people who helped me clean the house. Notice the 5 to 10 bags of trash in the garbage cans. Notice all the chairs from the backyard are now inside. Notice the loaded dishwasher. Notice the clean towels in the dryer. That was all of them. I'd appreciate if y'all didn't tell him any of this. It does piss me off, but I don't hate Muta. But at the same time, this is absolutely fucking ridiculous. And I believe this was the last time I ever saw Mutahar in person.
I don't know, that probably sounds ridiculous to say the Mutahar would be that petty, that vindictive, to try and, at the first opportunity, jump on the bandwagon and call somebody a PDF file, just for the sake of his own career and just to try to make himself feel better. Without Mutahar having any proper engineering credentials or knowing anything about cybersecurity more than the layman knows, like, I genuinely feel, as me, somebody that took a few college courses related to these types of things, I'm saying that right now, I have not gotten a degree yet. As somebody that has taken a few college courses related to this, as well as watched some YouTube videos, I feel like I have just as much, if not maybe slightly more knowledge than Mutahar on most of these topics. And the way that he talks about them, it seems as if he has the vocabulary, but not the real-world knowledge to know where these things would be implemented. He talks about asset, like, hash matches, saying that basically that they would be cross-matching these with, like, a database of, like, CSA material that is hosted by Interpol and the FBI, which likely is true. But it does not specifically say that that is the reason why this was taken down. It does say that, if it does contain offending material, that the person would be reported to the proper authorities. However, to my knowledge, MamaMax is still uploading, still posting, so I don't think he's been arrested. I've not heard anything about anybody in his team being arrested for holding CP, which if this was what people are saying it was, I feel like it would have happened, like if Mega is reporting the police. But this is what happens when you lie. It calls into question everything you've ever stood for. Even if Mutahar was on the moral right side whenever he's dealt with MamaMax or the Completionist or talking about Carl Jobst or whatever, right? Even if he has been on the good side when he's talking about any of those things, he has now had a severe loss in credibility. Because now there's the revelation that through his entire decade-long plus career, he has now been completely fraudulent in the way that he presents himself. He's not actually an engineer. He's not actually a cybersecurity engineer. Honestly, it really is pirate software. I worked at Blizzard levels of absurdity. If this guy's a video engineer, I'm a video engineer. I'm doing as much effort as Mutahar does for his videos. And actually, I've been uploading more consistently because given the fact that since the controversy has started, his upload patterns have slowed down. I'm actually more consistent than Mutahar right now. Despite the fact that I don't get his views. So, like, comment, subscribe, thank you. This is a quick one. I couldn't put this in the last video because it happened, like, right as I was in the editing process, like trying to get it uploaded. Mutahar censored the word engineer from his YouTube comment section. Harmful Opinions did a comparison showing a comment that had the word engineer in it versus a comment that did not have the word engineer in it, and showed that Mutahar 100% set up a custom word filter so that way, if people tried to make fun of him for being a fake engineer, they couldn't, which is just hilarious. I'm sorry. That's just like you're Streisand affecting. You're Streisand affecting your own fake credentials, dude. Like as more people hear about this, the more people are just going to make fun of you. You have to address it, Mutahar. Like if you like you've said it before to other people. You've told other lolcows that whenever they are pressed, that they need to just face up to what they did, face up to the drama, they admit to it, whatever, and then just like, you know, just try to move on. But Mutahar can't move on because everything he's ever stood for has now been rooted in a lie. This is too big of a lie to deal with. And here's the, I don't know, the spiritual part of this. I feel like Mutahar is being haunted by Sonichu. Now, I know that probably sounds insane, but look at this picture on screen of Mutahar wearing a Sonichu medallion. See the light behind his eyes? The smile on his face? You couldn't imagine the current fake engineer Mutahar looking like this, could you? It's because a demon took that magic. That light, that energy that once existed inside of this man, it's gone. And whether Mutahar was always a liar, always a fake engineer, or Sonichu's ability to rewrite reality made it so for the sake of the dimensional merge, somehow, some way, Mutahar got his life ruined by putting on that medallion. And if that doesn't make you believe in demons, I don't know what else will, chat. That's weird, bro, and I hope you guys appreciated this Mutahar update. I seriously can't believe that one of my favorite, like, I guess, like, middle school, high school YouTubers is seriously, like, coping and seething like this. Like not uploading, he's censoring people in this comment section. Like, it's incredibly embarrassing to see somebody that you once respected, at least in, like, the creator space, like, mauling and seething so badly. But I would hope that this would set a higher standard for all of YouTube from now on, for people to be more honest. And you don't need to be an expert in things to be a creative. That was the thing that made YouTube so special in the early 2000s and mid-2010s, was there was a level of authenticity whenever it was just a teenager making videos behind his camera. Like, you know what I mean? Like just a dude that wanted to make fucking Call of Duty montages or whatever. Like, it was endearing and wholesome whenever you would see that level of creativity in someone. But now people only view it as the money-making parameter that it is. And that's not to say that there is not a merger of these two things, obviously. I say, I tell people to like, comment, and subscribe because I would love to get this monetized. I would love to get paid for this hobby. But it's not just about that. You do actually have to care somewhat. And even if Mutahar cared, he could only do so in a parasocial way, where he viewed the audience as his family, as his validation. And I feel like he likely did that because he wasn't getting validation from his real family. His father was a doctor. He probably wanted his son to be a doctor. And when he couldn't make it as an engineer, he said, screw it, I'll be a social engineer, and I'll scam my entire audience for 10 years. Hope you're proud of me, Dad. Hey, at least I'm not Mutahar. That's weird, bro, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'm going to try to have some more rolling out the 10 soon. I'm probably going to do some coverage of the Ethan Klein lawsuit drama. That's been pretty funny. Frogan basically refusing legal service. That might be the topic of the video. But anyway, I'm signing off. You guys have a great day, and God bless you. Peace out.